Starting to be evening time in the great state of Texas. But right now, we're not going to talk about the pretty cactuses. We're going to talk about prison. So I commented on somebody's page and they were talking about there was an officer that was cutting off the electricity to inmates, I guess pods house. They were cutting off the electricity to the inmate's house because there was some other inmates that were in the shower and they were refusing to get out. Now there's a lot of this story that we don't know. Why were the inmates in the shower? Were they supposed to be in the shower? Why were there multiple inmates in the shower? Was there something going on in the shower that we don't know about? I mean, there's a lot of questions right there. And why did the boss think it was up to, at her best discretion, and the only way to handle this situation by cutting off the electricity to somebody's house? Well, and another thing, the inmates might have been, look, it was rack up time, right? It's time to go to sleep. So the inmates might have been creating a distraction for something else by everybody running and jumping in and getting in the shower right at rack up time, knowing it's about to be rack up time and they were going to be locked up for the rest of the night. Or they could be trying to slow buck things. So, and something else that could be going on too, real quick, while I'm thinking about it, is, these inmates all run and jump in the shower right at a time when they're not knowing they're supposed to be racking up, so they can create a bit of a problem, right? This wasn't by chance. Some guys were just in there peacefully taking a shower, I don't think, because they know what time is rack up time. They were probably trying to buck the system and drag things on out for as long as they could, because the officers have to get them racked up. They got counts to do. There's things that have to get done. And when you got people being disruptive, it encourages other people to be disruptive. And now you got an entire pod that's out of control. So this officer probably did one of the few things that they can do, because what else can she really do? She can't go down there and pull out her can of mace and say, y'all get out that shower right now. It's not time for that. You ain't supposed to be in there, because there's times and things in the prison where you're supposed to be doing things, and that's the time when you're supposed to be racking up, not showering. And what she gonna threaten him with a little can of mace, and they said there was two or three guys, I guess, in the shower. So those, let me tell you something else that happens. Those little cans of maces that officers have, well, sometimes there'll be an accidental spray or something will happen, and there's not even a full can of mace in there, but they'll actually put clear tape around that thing, around the mace bottle, to give it that weight, because they weigh it every day, you know what I mean? And so, the alternative is to kind of stretch things out and have a use of force, because they're not listening to her. So that's why she probably resorted to that. And she may not be a strong, well-respected boss, because I don't think if a stay-down boss would have went down there, a strong boss would have went there, I don't think that would have happened anyway. They would have gave her the respect of just racking up when they were supposed to be racking up instead of bucking the system. And I can't even remember what pen this was at. All right, so that's... And keep in mind, she's not cutting off the electricity to the air conditioning or something like that, because she doesn't have access to it. I think probably the only thing she has access is to the cell lights. I don't even think she has access to the receptacles inside of the prison. I could be wrong about that one, but in my opinion, it was easy access to the lights. You know what I mean? And we would use lights as a form of peer pressure to get somebody to close the door, do something they should be doing by, it's just a way to utilize peer pressure, all right? All right, now with that being said, now let me do the other side of this. That was the CO side of it, all right? Now, from the other perspective, calling in and complaining on what will happen is, if anything happens, the rank will walk down there to talk to her and say, hey, we got a bunch of calls down here today saying that you're cutting off the electricity to their cells. And that boss is going to look at their rank and be like, no, I never did that. They're probably just going to deny it. You know what I mean? Because how do you prove it, for one? You know what I'm saying? Unless you just... I mean, even on camera, I don't know if you're going to be able to see or prove anything depending on how many cells lights were on or off or whatever, you know what I mean? And as long as that rank has plausible deniability and can say that they're not 100% sure that she was doing it, nothing is going to happen. Right? If it's not like recorded that she's actually doing it, I don't think anything at all is going to happen from that. This officer probably already has a hard enough time going to work as it is. I bet she sounds like she's one of these officers that are not probably respected anyway. And like I said, respect is paramount in the penitentiary, and even when you're a correctional officer. So, I just don't think anything is going to come of it. Maybe, no, I just don't. There's not even a maybe there. I don't think anything at all is going to happen. Now, do I think that you should not call? No. Call. Be an advocate. Always be an advocate for what the right thing is. Always choose the right thing in life. That's always your best policy. It's always the best way to go. Keep making calls. Keep letting people know. Maybe one day rank will actually catch her doing this. If they'll set up like a little, operation where somebody's watching or something. Who knows what they're going to do? But who knows if when I worked at the prison, there wasn't even cameras in most of the places. They were getting cameras later on, so we don't even know if there's cameras there. It's just their word against hers. And, the inmates can file a I-60 or a grievance or anything about this, and generally, they just go right into the trash can, to be honest. Is it right? No, I'm not saying it's right at all, but I'm telling you, you want the truth from me or not, because that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Y'all have a good evening. Thank goodness it's the evening. This is my favorite time of day because it's finally getting cool. You know what I mean? The only one out here been enjoying this damn summer is that cactus I showed y'all a picture of. So, all right, y'all be good and have a good one. And never stop advocating for the right thing.